Mandie Bridge. Mandie is a life coach and IEMT practitioner. After being certified in 2019 in IEMT, Mandie's gone on to work with over 400 clients, racking up over 4,000 hours of or 2,000 hours experience, wasn't it? Mandie's developed a three-session system which uses IEMT and life coaching, which has proven to be very successful. She received so many flowers and presents, she's going to have to open a florist or a gift shop. Mandie was there saying that I don't get jealous, I just want my cut from all of this. Now, today, she is actually celebrating 2 years of marriage. However, instead of being with her husband, she's with us. So, Mandie Bridge, let's take it away. What's your story with IEMT? Have you got to be so successful?
Well, I qualified as a life coach in 2004, so it's 20 years down the line now, and I used it in the jobs and the roles that I was working in, teaching drama, in business, marketing, that type of thing. I used those skills, should I say.
Mm.
And then in 2017, my last husband, because the current one's my fourth, my last husband cleared off with another woman. And as a result of that, I didn't take it very well. And I hit the floor, ended up with a PTSD diagnosis from the GP. And an existing coaching client that I had at the time, she was a business coach actually, told me about IEMT. And she'd been on one of your courses because I was looking into EMDR and other sort of trauma therapies. And she told me about you and this thing. And so I said, okay, let's do it. So she gave me your details. I contacted you and I had 3 sessions with you. And a fortnight later, my life had changed pretty much. And that was in the I can't remember when it was. It must have been around the earlier part of the year, about January, something like that, I think. And in July, I attended your weekend course in London. And then in October, I got my certification 2019. And the rest, as they say, is history. I'm still here 4.5 years later doing this amazing thing. Matt, you mute. I can't hear you.
It's a great day today to be me. Oh, AI companion, not now. I don't know what an AI companion is, Dawn. Dawn's requested an AI companion. I'm not sure what that is. Um, so you trained in life coaching. What kind of clients were you working with before? And
Well,
basically, how has IEMT now changed how you work with clients?
Well, I like to think I became a life coach when it actually meant something, when you couldn't just do a 2-day course on a weekend on the internet. I actually wrote stuff out by hand and posted it and got a diploma and stuff in 2004. And I'd come out of the weight loss industry, which is what got me fascinated with the psychology of change. But I never actually did a standalone business on my own, just focusing on coaching until my ex-husband left. And it was at that point that was a catalyst. I was working in industry. And so I came out and thought, this is the time I need to try and start my own business. So I did. And that was about a year before I saw you. So I'd spent a year doing free Facebook Lives, presentations. Because I'd worked in the weight loss industry locally, I was pretty well known for
Mm.
inspiring. I'd taught drama for 6 years. So all the kids and the parents knew who I was. I was very well known locally. So I sort of used those contacts and brought in people who just wanted direction in life. Basically, that's what a life coach is.
Yeah.
Um, but it was a hard slog. It was the long way around. It was using logic, using telling people what the best way forward was, facilitating them coming up with their own solutions. But when they're doing that through a wall of trauma, sensitivity, low self-esteem, low body image, no self-belief, it's very difficult. It's like pushing a camel up a hill with a spoon. Um, but once I discovered IEMT and I experienced it, I knew that's what I needed at the front of my client sessions to get them free and clear, get all the crap out the back of the cupboard. And then any guidance I can give from then on is they're on the right trajectory straight away because they're free to move forward with no blocks. And if there are any blocks, we can work on those as the journey progresses, using this incredible tool. But the 2 sessions as you teach it are 100% what I do on the first 2 sessions.
Okay.
And I think I'm a bit like a rat up a drain pipe. I don't want to just clear everything that they've come with or that they've told me about before they came that the problems are. I want to make sure that there's nothing else holding them back. So, and then second session, I give them kind of homework, as it were, to go and test drive some of the things that I want them to make sure they're not reacting to. And then when they bring that, when they go back, because effectively they're a new version of themselves after the second session. So they have some homework to do. I teach them the memory eye movement. So if they do get triggered by anything, they can release themselves.
Okay.
And then they come back on that third session. Have they been triggered? What's triggered them? I have another route around, see if there's anything that we've missed and release it if we have. If I haven't missed anything and they just need strategy, then we talk strategy. And it's at that point then that we look at whether they need any ongoing support. I mean, I've just noticed on some of these questions, it's like, how long are they with me? How long do they stay with me? All of that. It is very much down to the individual needs. If you're working with someone who's in a toxic relationship or who's having a horrific time at work, that's not going to solve itself in 3 sessions. So if there's an environmental factor that they need support with to help them handle it, then they'll almost certainly stay with me for a little while until that situation's resolved.
And so how long would that little while be? Are we talking months, years, or?
Well, I've got one client who's actually been with me since 2017.
Wow.
She's just got a dream job today, actually.
Wow.
Got a whole squee moment, but she was coming to me as a client, a coaching client, and then she'd gone through the IEMT process. But they're only with me once a month. They only come to me once a month. So I do those first 3 sessions over a fortnight. And then I will always follow up with a third one, usually about 3 weeks later. I think 21 days is a good thing because it's a habit, that old adage, you've got to do it 21 times for it to become a habit.
Yeah.
They're set with homework, and these are the ones that need the ongoing support, of course. You know, some people come, and I've signed 2 off this week on the 3rd session, and I've just gone, I'm not worried about you. Do you want to come and see me? They've gone, no. And I'll go, well, I'll check in with you in 3 weeks' time. That was another question on here, actually. I check in on them in 3 weeks' time. Are you all right? They know where I am if they need me. They can message me. I can give them some support via email. And if that doesn't work, I'll book them in with me. But generally speaking, 3 weeks later, if someone's going to go on for ongoing support, it depends how bad they are, but usually they're okay for 3 weeks. And I'll bring them in after 3 weeks and then once a month. And then eventually, I've got a couple of ladies, I really don't know why they're coming, but I've made them go to 6 weeks because they don't need me. They just like me and they just keep coming back and bringing me flowers and being lovely. So, yeah, I'm very lucky. I'm just so lucky. I have some beautiful people that I work with. I'm very, very lucky.
And that moves us on to the next thing, really. Who have been some of your favourite clients or standout cases that you've worked with?
Right, well, I did. I knew you'd ask me this because the last time you asked me this, I said I don't have favourites, and because you know, technically speaking, you're not supposed to have favourites. But these are the ones, there's three particular ones here. The first one is a lady, God love her. She was 75 when she first came to me. She's still with me now. She's 78 now. And she came up the steps to the hub here. She had a little dog, which she had to leave outside because I'm allergic to dogs. And she was shaking. She was like that. And I've asked her permission to tell her story. And she was literally like this. And I gave her a glass of water and she was like that. She couldn't hold, the anxiety was horrific. And in an hour, she was picking the glass of water up with one hand and drinking it steadily. And that trauma was 70 years old and was just, you've gone mute again. And it was just consuming her absolutely from the inside out. And there was a lot of things that had happened to exacerbate it since, because she'd been on the planet for 75 years. But I love her. You know, she's one of those people that I'm glad is in my life, you know, and she lives locally, and my God, does she send me some clients. She's a standout. And then there was another lady that contacted me about her then 13-year-old daughter, and she wanted me to see the 13-year-old daughter. And I didn't work with under 15s.
Oh, Mandie, you're frozen on me.
Just, can you still hear me?
Yes, it's good. Yes, it's okay.
Yeah. So I don't work with under 15s. I've tried it and I wasn't secure in it. Plus, they found it very difficult to engage with the concept because it all just seems far too weird. And they start giggling. And if they've been dragged along with mother, it needs to be their choice. So what I said was my standard thing is, well, no, I can't help her, but I can help you to help her.
Right, okay.
So she booked in to come and see me. She is also still a client, one of those that has gone to 6 weeks and doesn't really need me. But in that story, I ended up working with her husband, and her other daughter, who was older. And in fact, the only member of the family I've not worked with is the girl that she contacted me to help in the first place, who is perfectly fine.
Wow.
So that's another little story. What else did I put on here? Oh, and then another favourite was gorgeous, gorgeous man. I don't mean aesthetically, just a lovely person. I mean, it's very nice as well, but he's ex-military police, Afghanistan vet, PTSD, proper battlefield stuff. Huge problems with rage, temper, everything else. Felt horrific because he was in a relatively new relationship then, and he was ashamed of the way he was responding and behaving in it, terribly worried. He'd been to anger management classes and just felt so not aligned with the people that were around him. And he had a fantastic result. And then his girlfriend came to see me so that I could release her from the negatives around him. And they just got engaged this New Year's Eve.
Oh, very nice.
They were in the restaurant next to Ian and I celebrating their engagement. So there was a lot of big cuddles there.
Nice.
That's so sweet. And if you want a couple of stories about a couple of shiny fireworks stories around IEMT, my masseuse, she'd been complaining about lack of sleep ever since I'd been going to see her. And this particular day, she forgot me quads. She forgot to massage the front of my legs. And I remember, I said, "You've forgotten this." And she said, "Oh, I've not slept for 2 nights." And I thought to myself, and I've stopped myself doing this, but I just said, I asked her a couple of questions and I just said, "Tell me are you worried about anything?" She said, "No." And I said, "When did it start?" "Menopause." "Can you remember it starting?" "Yes, it was 12 years ago." So I just did the memory eye movement on that. And she developed a phobia of sleeping.
Right.
What I concluded from it all, because I knew she had a wonderful life and she was a happy woman. So,
Mm.
but you never know. And I released her, and she's sleeping now better than she's done for 12 years, almost instantly. I showed her the eye
Wow.
movements to get her back to sleep, and that was a cracking story. And she's 12 years. This woman hasn't slept probably for 12 years, and she's like,
Wow.
you were only with me for 5 minutes. You only went 7 minutes, I think it took. And then the other one was when my mother was in a care home during COVID, and three of the carers were traumatized about having the COVID injections. And so I removed the trauma from them three, then they could get vaccinated.
Brilliant.
So those are the two firework stories, I suppose. Um, so yes, so there we are.
So, with your clients, then, a lot of people have asked this. Who is your typical client, if you have one?
There isn't one. No.
Fair enough. Right. Okay. So, because a lot of people ask about specializing. So, you don't specialize. So, in that case, how do people find you? Is it referrals? I know you do a lot of social media, but how have your last, I don't know, 10, 20 people come to work with you?
Almost always referrals now. Oh, almost always. Yeah. Yeah. Um, yeah, pretty much always. Yeah,
Yeah.
I would say, yeah. Or somebody's told somebody, or they've seen me on the internet.
Mm,
Alex, my son, he's a marketing, he has his own marketing company. So he's put me at the top of the search engine optimization for my website.
mm, nice.
And there is, I think, to be fair to him, he did that. He did that when I got the new video up, because I shortened the video. It used to be 10 minutes, and I've shortened it to about 3 because he was nagging me. It was too long. And so since that's happened, yeah, I've had 2 or 3 drop in, but it's not major. But it's nearly always referrals. Yeah.
Wow. Now, we were talking about qualifying your clients and having hoops to jump through. Just the last couple of weeks, I've not fired clients, but I've told them they couldn't do the course because they were just messing around too much. What are the hoops that you put people through, and how do you know the client's going to be a good fit?
It's right. Well, when they inquire of me initially, I don't do consultations. If they want a consultation, I won't pay them for it, and I want an hour's money for it. And what I will do in that consultation is take all the history and show them how the eye movements work. Now, the reason I don't do consultation is because people will eat your life with consultations, and they'll do a lot of tire kicking, and they'll mess you about. You know this, Matt. So what I do is I send them a first response, which is lovely to hear from you. If you haven't already done so, please look at my website. I'd be delighted to help. This is how I work. Okay, so the website says everything. There's a video on the website that answers all the frequently asked questions. They are then told how much it costs, that I need a deposit if they want to book in with me, and the dates I offer, will only be for 48 hours, and then
Mm,
without a deposit. I'll only hold them for 48 hours without a deposit. But the main thing, and then I put the disclaimers in there that I can't work with people with psychosis, with neurological problems,
yeah.
all of that. Um, and I'm not able to work with, is how I put it. Um, and then I ask them for their normal, regular work availability schedule, and I'll send 3 dates across to them. When I send the 3 dates across to them, they either say yes, no, or we tweak, and they pay the deposit within 48 hours, and then they're in the diary. After that, I will email them with seven questions asking them for their history and telling me what's wrong. How
Mm,
does stress present itself, any significant memories, What's the relationships like with siblings, parents, blah, 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 all of that.
Yeah.
Are they on any medication, sedatives? Have they had therapy before? How did it work for them? And then your magic question, that's one I nicked from you, is how would your life look like without it?
Yeah.
And so I have their story, and it can be, and I printed a couple off actually. It can be that long, that's what he wrote, or it can be that long, or it can be
Right.
about 6 pages.
Yeah.
Oh, I had one the other week that just put angry. That was it.
Right. Okay, fair enough. Of
That's all he wrote. And I went out to meet him on his first session, and he was angry with me because I'd waved at him across the road to show him where
course.
he's furious. Yeah, really irritated. But
Of
you know,
course, that's why.
he
How
told
did he
me
leave? Was he all right?
he was fine. He's a real little sweetheart. In fact, we had a laugh on the third session about how cross he was with me when he first came. Yeah.
Now, let me ask you, when you first qualified or first got your certification, I suppose you were already sort of quite well known and you were doing life coaching because obviously you've worked with a huge amount of clients. You used to do a lot of Facebook Lives as well. And is that what really started to get you known to get people in? So, because if people haven't seen, Mandy used to do Facebook Lives, well, it was every day, then every other day, and now it's sort of now and again. So, when you did Facebook Lives, what kind of things would you talk about? How would you engage people? And also, why have you stopped it?
Right. Okay. Well, I did 600. It got to the end of 2022 and I'd done 600. So I was like on the magic roundabout of going round back onto subjects again.
Right,
Um,
yeah.
I also had horrific menopausal issues last year that you know about, because that's why I said no to an interview last year. I had to get
Mm,
all my chemistry balanced out again. So, and I'd had enough. I was just tired and having to get up, and I used to commit to a certain time every morning. And having to commit to get up for something that I wasn't getting paid for when I was really, really busy in
yeah,
reality
yeah.
stopped making sense. And I didn't need to do that anymore to promote
Mm,
myself, but it was massively crucial in the early days. And I think that consistent daily action of showing up and showing a commitment to what you believe in and how you can help people. And they were getting to know me too. You
mm,
know, because how many opportunities do you get to even see a photograph of the therapist you're going to see? But but when you've actually seen somebody talking on a video, you know if you're gonna like her,
yeah,
you know. And if they don't like me, they won't engage with me. And that's
yeah,
why I have the video on my website, because and I put on it's important that you like well, that you feel comfortable with me. So watch this video.
yeah,
Uh, because if they don't feel comfortable with me, there's absolutely no point in them coming.
yeah.
You know.
Exactly why I do things like this and why I do it's like my next course completely sold out a while ago. I've then released some more spaces for it. I haven't done a sales call. Don't think I've actually done one. It's just basically people decide if they want to work with you or not, and then they apply.
And
So
that's why I don't do consultations. And they've got that whole, can we have a chat? No. If you want to
mm,
chat with me, I'm sorry, but that's what I do for a living. Would I have
yeah,
to go and wait tables for 20 minutes for nothing? You know, it is actually what I do. And all the frequently asked questions are in the video and in the content of the website. If they want to chat with me, it's fine. I'll do a consultation before the 3 sessions, and then they don't have to write the history. They don't have to read the website. But I'm
yeah,
sorry, it's my time and I need to charge for it, you
yeah,
know. Um, so I will do that. Or I'll answer any questions by email or messenger or whatever, you know.
mm,
I won't charge for that. But if they want to read, they'll eat me life. If because I know I've been trapped on
yeah,
the phone with somebody
yeah.
on
I don't give my phone number out
no, I
because I
don't.
don't want people to call me.
No, I
I know
don't.
that sounds daft, but anyone can make, anyone can get emails, anyone can get phone calls.
Yeah,
You can
I
do
don't.
loads of marketing stuff. I don't do anything like that.
No,
I
I
just put
don't.
out loads of content. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't give my phone number out at all. That's for my family and friends. My phone
Yeah.
number. Yeah.
I even tried to keep it from them now, to be honest. But no, so I don't like taking phone calls. Because I used to get phone calls like drunk calls from
Yeah.
depressed men on a Sunday
Oh,
night who
oh,
didn't want to go to work
absolutely.
the next day and all. And I was like, I'm not being paid for this. I'm not the Samaritans. So yeah, I don't give my number out. And if I don't know a number, I won't answer it. And if they leave
No,
a message, I'll listen to the message or what have you, but I won't engage with that because
no,
you
I've had
condition
that.
people. Yeah, I
Yeah,
really find that you do condition people. And if you're always responding, if you're answering calls and essentially giving free help,
yeah.
they'll never pay for it.
No, they won't. And I am not an emergency service. I say that. If they can't wait 6 weeks, I'm really sorry. There is Samaritans, there's Mind to talk to your
Mm,
GP. I'm not an emergency service. And also I will say to clients, just drop me a message whenever you like. If you've any questions, concerns, this is in between once I've seen them. I'll answer you as soon as I can. As soon as I'm back at my
mm,
desk, I'll answer you.
yeah,
But I do not read my messages on a Sunday. I always say that. So that's
yeah,
my little boundary thing. And I'll read them on days that I'm not working, and I'll reply on days that I'm not working. But when I feel like I want to go into the
mm.
work zone, that's my choice then. I'm not having my attention demanded by like that. Yeah.
I find this a lot in you therapists, and not just IEMT therapists, but therapists in general. Will try and get loads of consultations to try and sell them onto sessions, and they'll help them so much in a consultation, the client doesn't need any sessions. It's a
I'm
very
not.
common thing.
Absolutely. And I'm not, I actually wrote on my little thing, when you asked me to think about stuff, I've said curating an orchard. The people that are right for you, that are ripe and ready to drop, you've just got to be there to catch them. Make
Mm,
yourself available to catch them, but it's not your job to go and yank the fruit off the tree. And I've
yeah,
said, don't sell, just present evidence of your success, explain how you work and what to expect, and then leave them to decide.
yeah, I completely agree. So, because I've got people who've done the course, I think I've got 60 something, I don't know, it's a lot. And I've got about another 10 or 15 to book in interviews with people who've been through the training. So
Yeah.
I'm a bit different. I don't do one-to-one sessions, not really, not anymore. I just like focus on the training. So, but I would still encourage people, regardless of what stage you're at, interview your clients, interview them. People go, they won't want to. Have you asked? Have you actually asked what's AR? Sorry, just Zoom saying AR. I don't know what that means. Um, okay, so I do into, and if they don't want to be on camera, they don't have to be. Do a blank screen, put up a picture. They don't actually have to be on there. But you've done some interviews and stuff as well. In fact, I heard you on the radios about your love story as opposed to IEMT. But how have you gone in the way sort of getting sort of publicity locally? And also, do you work face to face or online as well?
Both. I do
Oh,
both. Yeah. Yeah.
and what do you prefer out of interest?
Do you know, nobody's asked me that, but people normally say which works best.
Hmm.
Um, I, it's advantages to both. If I work online, I never run over.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to bring somebody in, sitting down, coat off, and then they got to
Hmm.
leave. And I have a sod off sign on the steps outside that I put on and off for the Amazon man,
Hmm.
So it's always about an hour and 15 minutes by the time
Okay.
I finish. But online, you're out after an hour, bang, gone. Um, I like the chemistry of human beings. I like human beings. If people want to hug me, I like to hug them. And that happens quite a lot. But you know, I've had, I don't think the efficacy of IEMT is compromised in any way by doing it online.
Yeah.
The only thing I do remember is I have so my little pattern is they send me the history, and then I'll send them a reminder a week before they're due to come in, and I do ask for all the money up front. So they pay
Right.
for all 3 sessions before they start.
Yeah.
Um, and that's outlined right from the beginning. They have to give me 48 hours for notice, otherwise I'll charge them £60 for a late cancellation.
Mm.
So and all of that's outlined. But I do that, and then when they've sent me the balance, I will send them a little acknowledgement, and with either address and directions on it for the face to face, or if they're online, I'll put it's for the online, making sure they have good, strong Wi-Fi, privacy, working microphone, desktop, laptop, or large tablet
Yeah.
at eye level. So I give them all those instructions beforehand. I mean, I remember once trying to do IEMT on a boat going from Hong Kong to whatever it is, Cancun Island, on an iPhone. She was like this.
Yeah. I wanted a session and this guy logged on to the Zoom and he was driving.
Oh
I
my
was like,
gosh,
whoa,
no!
like, what are you doing? So, no, we didn't do the session.
No.
So, yeah, so guys, it's really important with this to get the setup right, to make sure you can see them, you can hear them, that it's clear, they've got a good internet connection. Because if not, the first 10, 15 minutes of your session is doing this.
Yeah, it's really boring.
Yeah, it's just a waste of time. It really is. So you've got like a 6 week waiting list at the moment, if that's right.
But actually, it's longer because I'm having a month off in May. I'm 60 at the beginning of March. And so I'm going away, sorry, in March, I'm going away for a month. So now my earliest client availability is mid to late April. But
Wow,
that's because I'm away for a month. Normally it's 4 to 6 weeks.
four
Yeah.
to six weeks. And how many people do you tend to work with in a day or a week then?
I try not to, I try to do just 3 in a day, but it very often doesn't work. But if I do 4 in a day, I've nothing left. I have no functionality left then
Right.
for my family or my friends. So occasionally, if I'm really squeezed in, like before I go away on holiday, I'll be doing 4, like
Yeah.
every day, and it knackers me out. And when I come back, it'll be the same. But I like it to level out at around 3. Um, and I like my morning to myself. I weight train, I walk, I look after myself first, and then I start 11 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and 5 o'clock. Those are my appointments.
Mm.
But I work 4 on, 4 off, like Ian does with his shifts. Um, and so, and I never work Sundays. So if he's
Mm.
working on a Sunday, I have the Sunday off and all to myself. So that's my little. So I'll see somewhere like 10, anywhere between 12 and 15 clients in a week.
And your sessions, what, 1:15, an hour 15 are they?
The first IEMT is nearly always 1:15, yes. But after I aim for an hour, but
Okay.
it does slip. But I keep them 2 hours apart because I send session notes afterwards, and then I need about 10 minutes to prep for the next one. And so I have half an hour, 20 minutes to myself to eat, or I don't know, go and blow the cobwebs away or something in between. Reset.
Uh, I
And
get
do some
you.
eye movements on myself.
Yeah. Specifically, what makes IEMT so much more effective than other approaches that you were using or know about? A question
Um,
from somebody there.
yeah, it was. And I go back to what Ian said, but without the swearing. He said, this is my husband, everybody, who has been IEMT'd to within an inch of his life. But he said the new people will want to know, is this the new best thing? And he said what they need to know is it's the answer. And well, he used an expletive in there, but it absolutely is. It's absolutely, it just blows everything else out of the water. I have literally had psychotherapists, counsellors coming to me as clients. I've had a university lecturer in psychology from Cambridge, a pediatric psychotherapist, and people who know and understand the mind and how to, but somehow can't manage to link everything together. And the way I put it is they're dealing with the wall of shit, and the wall of shit's there, and every day they've got to scale that wall before they can even start to live their life. And what IEMT does is brings down that wall of shit so they can just step over it and get on with their life. That's why I
Yeah.
love it. That's why I won't work with anybody unless I do the 2 sessions of IEMT, because life's too short to be dragging somebody through the mud when they can sprint across it, you know.
No,
That
absolutely.
answers the
Brilliant.
question.
You did. I'm just trying to rattle through quite a lot more. We talked about this before, but you haven't done the advanced training because you got halfway through because Andy's not been well. But so you've only done the practitioner level, haven't you?
Yeah, and I did half, as you say, I did half of the advanced practitioner course of it. I wanted to be with Andy. I wanted to do his course, but he was unwell, and he's only rescheduled this year at a time when I'm in California. So I haven't done it yet. No.
So, because we were talking about this before as well, I think there's so much in the practitioner level that people are like, it's like a lot of people come to IMT from like the NLP world where, you know, you can keep doing more and more trainings going higher and higher. It's not like that with IMT. The practitioner teaches you everything. The advanced kind of goes deeper into the things, but it doesn't teach you anything, new techniques, should we say. But people are so keen to, because they want to have that type of advanced practitioner. Nobody cares about that. It's basically, can you use IEMT? And people always say to me, how do I get really good at IEMT? I go, right, how many hours a week are you doing IEMT? 0. Well, this is where the problem is. If you're not doing any IEMT during in your life, you're not going to get better at it.
I would
So,
say everything you need to learn about IEMT. I love the fact, what excites me about it, and I wrote this down as well because I wanted to put this on the interview.
all right.
I'm not an intellectual therapist. I'm an instinctive therapist. And I don't know whether it's God, the Holy Spirit, whatever it is, but I know when I've missed something. I know when I want to go after something. I kind of know how, and I don't know why. But having this tool with me, I would know that if I didn't have IEMT, and I wouldn't know what to do about it. But with IEMT, I know what to do. And because it's a working modality, you can play with it. You can say, oh, well, I wonder if it'd work, because like somebody had asked that question, Matt, earlier on. You said it had come in about what had I found that was new?
Yeah.
That question. Working on anticipated events, using the memory eye movement on an event that's not happened. That's not in the training. And that's because, and it makes total sense, because it works on nightmares. We both know it works on nightmares because the nightmare's in your memory. And I remember working with, this is how I discovered it. I remember working with a girl who was heartbroken. She'd been working with me for a while, and her boyfriend had dumped her. And she was absolutely heartbroken. She was totally over him. But what she was upset about was the future she'd lost with him.
Right.
That's what we do. Sorry, are you all
No, no,
right?
sorry. It's just, no,
So,
it's fine. It's just, yeah.
so because that's what we do, we create a reality in our heads. When we're in a relationship with somebody, or in a lot of, if we want to create something that we're scared of, we develop, and it depends how strong our creative brain is. But we can see it, we can feel it, we can taste it, we know what it's like. And I said to her, right, run your future, close your eyes, create a movie, run your future. And I released her from it. And she was over him by the time she left.
Brilliant.
And now that was a real discovery for me.
Mm.
Yeah, it was really exciting. And there's been a few little smaller things than that where I've gone, ooh. I didn't know that was going to work. And working on pain has been a bit of a thing, but I would never
Okay.
advertise. I would never advertise that I work on pain.
Mm.
But this is what I did with Ian because he had a forklift truck injury on his back. But releasing him from the trauma of the accident made a massive
Yeah.
difference on the
Yeah.
pain. Yeah.
Yeah, I've done that when people have had quite serious accidents, car accidents or physical accidents, and we've worked on the trauma of that, and that's helped that when they've then gone for physio or whatever it might be, it's made the physio much more successful because a lot of the tension, the physical tension, is now being released, so the physio is actually much more effective. Which I've found. Cool. I'm just wanting to get through all of these questions. Um, I've never seen someone get this amount of thankful presence. Is it due to a special kind of client, or how do you attract all this special appreciation?
I don't know. I think you'd have to interview the clients that buy me the things. Um, I don't know. I don't do anything particular. Um, I guess I think if I was to say something is I get them to see their best self, because when they come to me, all they see is what's wrong with them.
Hmm.
And it's a bit like when you fall in love with somebody, you start to see yourself through their eyes. And I think I'm very good at mirroring a person's best bits back to them.
Hmm.
I think that's what it is, maybe.
Very good. So everyone, take note. Flattery. We'll get you all of
No,
these in there.
don't want to
And make sure you mirror back again, because when a lot of people go for therapy as well, they're talking about negative stuff because that's what most talking therapy tends to focus on.
It's
With
not what life coach is.
IEMT,
And yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah. And obviously the IEMT, please don't talk about it. Don't
yeah,
talk about it. Just remember it. In fact, if I always say, if you want to talk about it on session 3, we'll talk about it then.
mm,
Of course, they never do.
yeah,
But so that's kind of one of the tricks I use. But also life coaching is about moving people forward. It's about getting them, and
mm,
that's my thing. It's not staying in the past, patting knees and going, oh dear, and yes, you were right, and oh, what a victim you were. It's all about, right, okay, life's shit is fertilizer for growth. That's a Mandie Bridge original quote. So where are you going to grow? How are you going to grow now? Look at what you've achieved. Look at who you are now. Look at all the wisdom you've got because of the shit that you've been through. How are you going to take that forward? You know, and that's
yeah,
why they do. They go and they change their lives. And it's an honor and a privilege to be a part of that journey, especially those that stay with me, particularly
yeah.
those that stay with me. Yeah. They're
So,
the ones that stay with me are the ones that buy me the presents.
right, fair enough. Like on a subscription basis. I've just got a couple more things, and then I'm going to ask if people have any other questions because we've been through the vast majority of the questions. I've tried to pick the ones which are most sort of distinctive. Um, the one question which I have for you really is what advice do you have for people who are on this call? So people who are either struggling to get clients or they've just done the training or they're going to be doing the training in the near future. From your experience, what are your sort of key tips, points, or best advice for these peeps?
The most of the things I've already said, but I would say in terms of getting clients and marketing, the videos, if you've got, I mean, I've got a history in drama and theatre, so doing lives was not an issue for me. But posting testimonials, and I don't post testimonial, I post messages, things that people have sent to me. And I just do a screenshot of it. And so it's natural, it feels natural. It's not, she's very good at her job and she was a lovely person and all that boring stuff. It's not like that. I think that's because it feels real. Obviously keeping anonymity at all times. That's very important. And it doesn't mean they have to go onto your business page and write a testimonial, because they're revealing their identity then. I don't have a business page. I am selling me, and my Facebook page is my life and me. And anyone could know anything on there. You know, I'm not bothered. If I don't want people to know anything, obviously I won't put it on there. But I am pretty much an open book. And I think what I was doing with the lives, sorry, because we got a bit sidetracked on that, didn't
Sorry.
we? I reduced it. What I did was just whatever was in my head. And I mean, I guess this time of year I think about Valentine's night, you know, and talk about girlfriends and friendships and the love women have as friends, and you know, and take the focus away from the other thing. That's perhaps what I would do if I was doing a live this week.
Okay.
And obviously, I talked about New Year and all that. Are you all thrashing yourself to death in the gym now? You know, is that where we're, is that what you're going to do to yourself this week? You know, and so whatever comes into my head, but I am starting to do them a bit more because I kind of missed them. And I did one after Christmas, and it had about 700 views. And I was like, okay, people do want me to go back and do this. So, and it is a little bit, because I'm known locally, it's a little bit, I guess it's a community service, it's uplifting, it was positive. But the other thing was there were so many people jumping on that bandwagon as well. You just think, I'm just going to step back now and let everyone else pick that one up. You know, I've been doing it for 4 years by the time I step back. So, you know, so.
No. So, oh, thanks, Anne-Marie. Okay. I'm going to open up to some questions because I think I've asked all the ones I have. Do you do your lives from your personal Facebook profile?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah. Because do you say do you have a business page or?
No, I used to have, and it got on my nerves, so I took it down. It was just another thing I had to do.
Fair enough. Right, let's get Keith. He has a question. So, Keith, if you want to unmute yourself.
Hello there.
Hi, Keith.
Hello,
Hello.
Keith. How are we doing?
Yeah, great. I've been told by a lot of the people I've worked with that I don't really work like most therapists, so a little bit of a renegade in some ways, but I'm just listening to you, Mandie. There's obviously a big character there in you, and I just wonder, how important do you feel your character is and the relationship that you create with your clients? Because to me, that is coming over as something that you haven't even mentioned.
Well,
I think it's massive.
yeah. And I think you're absolutely right, Keith. Yeah. And I think because I'm authentic, I'm me, I put lives out and they get to know me. They decide if they want a piece of this before they come through the door.
Yeah.
And I'm straight talking, but I don't do any coaching at all until the third session. But I think the reputation, 98% success rate's a pretty good figure. And, you know, you get that and you get me being honest and open, and then it's up to you to decide if you want to engage.
Exactly.
But yeah, and you know, celebrate being a good God, who wants to be like every other therapist? And I've had that as well. And said, well, you know, they don't tell me that. And normally, there's so many people terrified. I don't give advice, I draw advice, which is good. That's how it should be. But you hear horror stories, don't you, of things that other therapists have said. And I just got, I don't know, I'm not a medical professional. I'm not qualified. I'm not part of the British Association of Counsellors and Psychotherapists. I don't do that. That's not me. And I make no apologies for it, you know?
Yeah, I am. But there lies the rub in some ways.
Yes.
But it's just being you. And as you say, it's utter instinct in a way. There's almost some level of empath going on that you just get a sense. And when you've done it long enough, you obviously recurring and repeating themes and patterns, and You know, you got to watch you don't jump to too many conclusions, but you got a pretty good idea early on.
Yeah,
You know, so. But it was just really nice to talk to you.
Thank you. Lovely to talk to you too. Keep flying the flag for the Renegades.
Absolutely, yeah. We'll have to get a splinter group.
Yeah, there needs to be more of us for sure.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, bye-bye.
Thank you, Keith. Thank you.
Bye.
If anybody else has any questions, please just raise your hand and then I can bring you on. I just want to say something quite quickly, actually, about this whole about being authentic. People keep saying to me, "Oh, I love that you're so authentic and stuff." I've never professed to be authentic, right? I think that people who say they're authentic, you can tell they're lying from the big, you know, it's they tend to, yeah.
It's actually become trendy, which is terrifying.
Yeah.
And I was saying it before it was trendy.
Yeah, it's if someone's saying I'm just wanting to be authentic, it's like, well, there's a difference between being authentic and saying you're authentic. You know, if you just do stuff. So I just do stuff. I'm like you. I just kind of do stuff. I do lives. I do interviews. If people don't like it, that's fine. Because I'm connected to the internet and there's billions of people in the world. And I don't need many people a month to do a course for me to make a good living. Right. So I don't go out there purposely trying to offend people. I do find that people who try to be authentic just mean they are just wanting to annoy people, really.
I think you're right now. Yeah. I actually think you're right. I think they go to the other end and they use it as an excuse for being rude. Yeah. But yeah, I think you're right there. And I don't want to work with somebody who doesn't like me. Who would?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I once had a client who was he just came along just to annoy me. Anyway, right, okay, I'm talking to myself now. Right, okay, but that's good because I'm interested. Okay, I've got some messages coming in here. Aftercare. What about aftercare? Any specific things you share apart from doing homework?
Okay, aftercare. Right. So what I do, as I said, at the end of the second session, I give them some boundaries to push because of their strongest self by the time I've finished with them on the second session. They've done the identity work. So if they got a problem with the mother-in-law, I will go and say, expose yourself to your mother-in-law, and that always gets a laugh. You know, just be around her, observe yourself, see how you feel, give them the eye movements that they'll need to do if they've had a bad reaction. And then they need to feed that back to me on the third session. So on that third session, then we talk strategy, see if I've missed anything. If I have, I release it, or we talk strategy. After that, they either book in with me 3 weeks later for another session, in which case I'll check in with them at a 10-day mark. I always check in with everyone at a halfway point between every session. That's like the law for me. And then, so in 3 weeks' time, they're either coming to see me, or if they don't book in another appointment, I just check in with them 3 weeks down the line via email. How's it going with the mother-in-law? How are you feeling? Are you still doing the eye movements? Are you still looking after yourself? That sort of thing. And then they come back to me and you know, if I've signed them off, they're usually going, it's great. I feel marvelous. Thank you very much. And then if they're coming back in to see me, then we work on where they want to go next. So brilliant. That's my follow-up. What I'll do if I'm signing somebody off, I'll plan that. If they've been with me coaching for a long time, I'll put in a session at the end, which I call an archive session. That's the session where we close everything down. Those are rare. They tend to stay with me for a long time. Yeah. I always feel a bit of a woo when I file somebody in the archive.
Brilliant. Yeah, no, it's one thing which I think's really important is that having a proper CRM system and knowing when to follow up with people.
CRM.
A customer relationship management, basically a database of if somebody contacts you, make sure you get back to them and make sure you get back to them again. And after you've worked with them, get back to them after so many months. And I teach this on the course actually, but basically when I get back in contact with somebody after we've done some sessions, I'm looking for a few things. Are they okay? A lot of therapists, I've noticed this with hypnotherapists and NLPers, right? Not saying all of them, but a lot of people don't like getting in contact with their clients after the session because they won't feel so great like they did at the end of the session, right? So they don't want to know if they failed. If I've failed
Done
on something,
something
I want to
wrong.
know.
Yeah, they've done something
Yeah,
wrong. Yeah.
yeah. So, but if I've worked with somebody and not got the result they wanted, I want to know why rather than avoid it. So when I contact somebody after like usually 4 to 6 weeks, I'm going to see how they're doing. Then I'm going to see if they need another session. If not, I'm going to see if they want to refer anybody to me. And lastly, can they give me testimonials?
Testimonials, the one I do after 3 weeks. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And I will ask that question as a standard, but to be honest, I don't use them that much. I tend to use the little snippets out of their emails that they're a bit more organic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I use loads of testimonials. So the testimonials that I use, I was going to say TripAdvisor, Trustpilot,
Oh, yeah.
LinkedIn recommendations. I've still not seen a profile with more recommendations than mine. I've got 82 written recommendations. Yeah, I know. But I ask for them. I actually ask for them. People forget to ask for them. Facebook reviews and Google business reviews.
Yeah.
And often people will put the same ones on all, which is fine.
Yeah. Yeah. You're welcome, Mavis.
I have a question here from, I know her as Zoe. I won't try and pronounce her name because I'll get it wrong. I'm 29 years old and I've had no prior therapy experience and ended up doing the training case study successfully. The clients expressed their experience as magical. What would be the best advice? What would be the best advice that you can give me as I step into this journey?
Oh my God, you're just going to have so much fun. Be excited. It's awesome. You can, I think probably the best thing I love about this is the fact that when somebody is unloading on me, I can do something about it straight away. Straight away, I can make them feel better. In an hour before they leave the room, they're going to feel so much better. In any other therapy, they spend the first session going over all the horrific stuff that's happened to them, and they feel like crap when they leave. Most of the time, from what I'm told. Obviously, I don't know, but it's marvelous. I don't mind. The most wonderful thing about this is because people say to me all the time, how do you cope with all of these clients listening to the stories you listen to? Well, first of all, I really try to tell them if it's mad trauma to not tell me and just remember it. But secondly, is because I can help. I'm not just there to absorb their stuff, their negative stuff, or to unload on. I'm there to do something about it. So it comes across as magical, although you shouldn't. I mean, Matt will have told you not to call it magic. But if they call it magic, that's fine. And a lot of them do. But it's neurology and it's very, very clever. And it's a superpower. If you can use this and arm yourself with this incredible tool, it's incredible. And if you can facilitate that for your clients, I think the most important, so one thing I've not said is I get them to understand themselves. I get them to understand how they've gone from the person they used to be to the person they are today and who they are now and why that can be used to help them move forward. Because if they understand their own wiring and their own mapping and the fact that they respond like that because of what happened to them when they were 13, they're more aware that they're not going to go back to it. They don't want to go back to it. They'll see those patterns of behavior coming back in and they'll recognize them and they'll go, I don't want that. I need to use an eye movement here. What would Mandie tell me to do? Or I'll email her and ask her what I should do about this. It's about getting them to navigate those seeds of life that you sent them through. Because we all have those waves. I remember someone saying they feel like they've upgraded from a raft to a super yacht now. You know, that was a great metaphor. So I hope somewhere in there I've answered that question. I went rambling on a bit there, sorry. It's really exciting.
Yeah, so I find a lot of therapists who are already in practice, when they come along, they say they're actually excited about doing therapy again using these tools. And because obviously IEMT plays so well with other models and modalities, so you can use it pure, or I know your 3 sessions, your first 2 sessions tend to be the IEMT, the life coaching and skills and stuff. But if you're a talking therapist or act therapist or whatever it might be, a lot of people, when they start to talk about their problems, they're going to become emotional. They then cry. You then have a little break. They then start talking again. Not necessarily, not much change has necessarily taken place. With IEMT, you don't let them get to that stage of becoming over emotional.
Mm.
We want to work with the emotions, but not to the point where they're upset.
Yeah.
And so, and by making sure you're controlling the session, because a lot of people think, right, I'm paying a therapist to listen to me. I'm going to speak at them for an hour. I'm going to unload all of this crap in my head and stuff. With IEMT, it's like, hold it. I know what's wrong. We've worked on this anyway. Do you have this memory? Do you have a feeling? I don't need to know all the explanation.
Yeah. And I think because I do this up front, where I take the history, I'll say to them, and I make them laugh, I'll say, I have a very complicated system. I said, the pink stuff we're dealing with today and the green stuff we'll deal with next week.
Yeah. There we go. 2 colours.
Yeah, that's it. And I said, the pink stuff's the memory stuff, and that's what we're working on today. All I need you to do is remember it while I move your eyes around.
Yeah. Absolutely. And so when I do the training, I teach people session 1, memories and emotion. Session 2, identity work. That's it. How do you keep your clients on track so they don't get stuck in their story and keep your sessions to 1 hour?
This.
Yeah.
And if they start talking, I'll direct them as much as I can. Every now and again, they'll try to hijack you. It's not very often now. I suppose it's less often now because I know I'm a bit more secure in what I'm doing. But yeah, I'll go now. The pink stuff I've numbered because I usually do it chronologically, and number 1's their earliest memory because they never write it down in the right order. Well, it's rare.
Yeah.
And so I'll look at the earliest memory and say, I'm going to start there. Is that okay with you? Or do you want me to work on something else first? And I don't think anyone's ever said, no, I want you to work on something else first. They've just gone, okay, you know what you're doing. So they just go with it. And if they're getting overwhelmed, I'll just go, well, let's see if we can do something about that then, can we? Let's see if we can, trust me, we're going to make this better. You know, those sort of noises. Be brave. And I always say it's like pressing down on a knot when you've got a knot in a muscle. If you press down on it, it'll release, and that's what we're aiming for, you know.
Yeah, I've noticed you use the term release quite a lot in what you do.
Yeah. 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 Did you
Yeah,
not?
it was just an observation. There was no other content there, really. It was just an observation. It just came to my head.
Did you not teach me that? No, you didn't, did you? No.
I don't think I don't use
No,
the
you
word
didn't.
release. I don't think I might do. I don't know. Any other questions, guys? Can you put them in the chat box or you can come on camera as well? This is your chance. Do it now, or you might, I don't know, you might die. Okay. Some other ones I did have some other ones via email as well. Let me just see if I've got any other ones as well. But guys, please just put your messages, your questions in there. All right, let me answer this one actually. Somebody put some questions to me in the process. Somebody was there saying they don't understand the difference between anxiety and fear. And IEMT, you can work on fear, but basically we don't work on anxiety directly. Now, anxiety is an overstimulation of the nervous response. It's an actual process that's happening. It's not an emotion. Fear is an emotion because it's directed at something, fear of that person, fear of public speaking. Now, that fear of something can cause anxiety, but I don't work on the feeling of anxiety itself. Okay, anxiety is an experience. With IEMT, we want to know the underlying emotions that's causing the anxiety. So anxiety is basically the physiological response really to it. I've been having a lot of anxiety issues recently, which has been fun. People don't know my dad passed away just at the end of last year. And so I've never been through a bereavement like this. And I was given the eulogy, and my dad was a professional speaker, and I was giving his eulogy. So, you know, I had a bit of anxiety kind of going on there. Smashed it, by the way, smashed it. But I had a lot of anxiety and stuff around that. And it's caused me sort of quite a lot of digestive issues and not panic attacks, but, you know, sort of panicky issues. But I know what the underlying causes were. So I have actually sort of worked on that. So the difference between fear and anxiety, fear is an emotion with a direction. It's about something. Anxiety is a generalized experience that's been caused by those emotions. Susan's got a question somewhere. Oh, how do you teach the eye movements to work on themselves?
Like that.
Oh, you actually do it with the thumb.
Yeah.
Okay. Right.
Or that. Yeah.
Right. Now, I have taught people to do some stuff by themselves. Simply sit down, hold your jaw, and actually put some dots on your own wall, and
Yeah.
actually move your hand and move
Or
your head,
use,
move your eyes.
or use a window. Yeah, a window.
Yeah. Uh, got
Television screen. Yeah.
we've got Suzanne here. Let's unmute Suzanne and pin Suzanne as well. Suzanne.
Hey, Suzanne.
That was my question.
Oh, right, okay. Right.
Thank you so much, because I couldn't get my head around it.
Well,
How do you teach them how to do the
Yeah.
eye movements themselves?
Well, I got this off Mavis actually, but if you look, I always say to them, make sure the back of your thumbnail is level with your eyebrows, and make sure you keep it there, because if it drops down, you end up not moving the eyes properly. And those that are on the spectrum really struggle with that because it's two coordinates at the same time. So I'll just draw them a diagram on an A4 piece of paper. I'll just go 1, 2, 3 and give them that. And as long as the center is level with their eyes, they can do it. And then, of course, when they've learned what to do, they don't need the piece of paper or their thumb. But the great thing is you always have your thumb with you, don't you?
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much.
Very welcome. Very welcome.
I've got a question here, so I'm just unpin you. Spotlight. If you were to do something differently in all your years of experience with IEMT, what would that have been?
I think all the stuff I've stopped doing is what I would do differently. I don't do consultations. I don't chase people if they don't come back to me. Those are the things I would stop doing, and I've stopped doing them. The curating the orchard is the most significant thing. Knowing and having faith in yourself. And I know it takes a while to come. So maybe I had to go through all of that to get to this, to the point that I'm at now, and do the consultations, find out where you belong. And I remember, and not being scared to go, do you know what? I don't think I can help you. You know, because if you're not a medical professional, then there are things that you can't help people with. I'm being honest and saying, like, if somebody came to me with ADHD or OCD or something like that, can you help me? Well, I can't cure ADHD and OCD because that's it's a disorder, but I can perhaps managing their expectations and saying, I can definitely help you to manage those things. So that's kind of, but that feeling under pressure to solve everything, and that was massive at the beginning and totally exhausting. And then the other thing was wanting to save the world with it. The woman with the trolley behind you in the supermarket, you know, that needs to calm down as well. And recognize that people, it's the old joke, isn't it? How many psychotherapists does it take to change a light bulb? Well, it's got to want to change. You know, it's that old joke. And it's true. And people will take that step. And the first thing I do in my response is, firstly, well done for reaching out. That's the first and hardest step. I congratulate them for that. I always thank them for their trust in me and this process. And their courage in coming through the door.
Well, you always say, was it 3 weeks to
3 sessions, 2 weeks, one brave message.
That's it, one brave message. Yeah, no, I think that's really clever, that. Somebody just sent me a direct message here. Do you think you're a better practitioner having been a client?
Yeah, 100%. 100%, yes. Because I continue to do the work after. The more I learned from you, the more I worked on myself. I worked on my husband. I worked on anybody who'd stay still long enough. And I know they say that you don't work with family and friends, but I don't work with my family and friends as a coach. But the rapid release stuff, it makes my life easier if I do that with them. Because then I don't have to worry about them, you know. If they want me to, obviously, I don't put my knee in someone's chest and make them sit in the chair. But yeah, much better, because I've had that personal experience. I've had PTSD. I know the hell it's been through. I've had 3 failed marriages. You know, it's where you've got to in your life. I've had all, just pretty, other than, well, I was petrol bombed actually. I was just going to say, other than actual battlefield stuff, I've been through pretty much everything that is being presented to me, or something similar. It takes a lot to shock me, and there's very little places where I can't empathize on some level. So being a client changed my life. It changed my life. The morning after you did that first session with me, I woke up and thought, where's all that gone? I remember it so vividly. Still, like, dear, where's it gone? And I also remember the care you gave me, Matt. Being genuine now, to have somebody ring up, make sure I was okay. 2 or 3 times between the sessions, actually, you rang me. Probably one of the few people that's got my phone number. And I remember that, and that has made a difference to my practice because of that experience. Yes. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So there you go. Honestly, sometimes just little things like this, like when I do my training, just some of the little things I put in, people find massively valuable. But it only took me 5 minutes to do. Just sending an email to somebody saying, how are you? How have you been since the session? Let me know, can lead to an extraordinary amount of work. Yeah. And somebody also, Zoe said, well, how do we get goodwill in the future? And I think actually caring about your clients' outcomes is the best way of getting goodwill, but also having good systems in place. Yeah, I really believe that.
Yeah, systems are massive. Having standardized letters and a series of events that happen between the inquiry and that first session that's the same for everybody, and then they all come through the same loops or process by the time they get here. And it isn't a sausage factory at all once they get here. I'm not saying that, but it really does help them to feel safe and secure, and it helps you as a practitioner feel safe and secure within these parameters, as it were. Yeah. But caring, remembering that my clients had an interview today for that job and sending her a message, I'm thinking about you tomorrow. I was the first person she told when she got the job. That's love. She's made me 2 frocks, Matt. That woman.
Yeah, I don't need those presents, to be honest, but
No.
yeah, they're the ones I'll reject. Yeah, and I think that what I really like is that when you do a session, because I always start out with the test memory, it makes people relax because they realize you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
And I like to sort of, sort of assert my authority. Not when I say authority, nobody wants to go see a nervous dentist.
Oh.
So when somebody comes for sessions with me, you've got if you've got systems and protocols and stuff in place, it allows you to relax and focus on the job. It really does. And I know a lot of people, when they start doing IEMT, they are so overwhelmed with all this stuff. I'm like, well, do you know what? Why don't you just do the simple pattern on 20 people?
Absolutely.
Just the simple pattern.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Suzanne's shooting off. See you later, Suzanne. Any final questions? If not, we're going to draw this to a close because Mandie's got some celebrating to do this evening.
Home, he's rattling around in the kitchen downstairs waiting for me to finish. So
waiting for you to go down and cook. Yeah.
No.
Any other final questions at all? If not, I'll do a. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I don't have anything to sell you, guys. My next training's completely booked out. In fact, it's oversubscribed. I took 2 extra on. Kiki. So that's completely booked out. I don't know when my next one's going to be. I will be doing them monthly, and I will be doing them during the week as well. So rather than 2 weekend days, I might do it over 3 days, like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and do it over the week instead. And also, I know we've got people all around the world doing the trainings, and people like saying, well, can you start at 4 a.m. your time? I'm like, well, I suppose I could. So I am looking at doing some different time zone trainings.
Oh my God, are you?
Yeah, I say that, but I very much doubt I will. But, I say that. If there's enough people who want me to actually do it at a different time zone, I will do.
One of the things I wanted to say too is one of the joys of what I've done is because I've worked with 400 people, 5 of them have done your course and 2 of them are now certified practitioners. So that makes me proud of both of us, actually. Yeah.
Well, yeah, one of my favorite things is being a trainer is reading the case studies and how they've worked with people. In fact, Zoe, who was just talking earlier, she had no experience in therapy at all. And she's done the case. In fact, we're doing the review on Friday. We're going to do it last Friday. I was having a boiler fitted because, life. And but somebody can take these skills without any therapy training and start to literally change people's lives, help change people's lives without any other experience. Just think if there's any more questions that we have here. So guys, you are all on my mailing list, excuse me, and I will keep you all up to date with upcoming trainings. If you have a training center or a group of people who you want me to come and do a destination training to, then that's something which I'm very much open to. Yeah, I don't really have anything else to sell. Mandie, if you want to, where's all your gifts? Do you want to like open up a gift shop, like an Etsy shop or something like that? Sell all these things off now?
There's lots of them on the wall around here. I've got my favourite is one of my client. Well, I shouldn't say favourite, should I? But one of my favourite gifts is a painting that an artist client did for me, and it's a rose and beautiful plants growing. And it says life shit is fertilizer for growth, which is one of the things I said to her is she's put Mandie Bridge at the bottom. Love that. And I've had
You'll have to get some fridge magnets.
Yeah. No. So I'm very lucky.
Cool. Well, thank you everybody for turning up. I want you to take this as inspiration to just get out there and start doing stuff. Again, if you don't know where to start with the simplest thing, the simple pattern.
It's
Just
the
go.
most exciting tool in the world. And if you remember, it's a working modality. Once you get to grips with the basics, you can play. You can play. You can find out. It's very exciting.
Yeah, you can combine it with talking therapy. Well, we've had loads of different therapists on, different types of therapists come do the training. Integrate it to what you're doing. It's a set of tools and techniques, which I'll teach you, or there's loads of other trainers, I suppose. But I would prefer if you came to me, obviously, financially. But then you can integrate that with what you're doing with counseling. So I have lots of counselors, like, I think it's human-centered counseling. And people can get really emotional. So what they do is when it's really hard to talk, they will do the IEMT, and then they can actually talk about it from a different position, from a different understanding without becoming emotional, you know? And that's been very, very successful. Mandie, thank you very much for sharing your wedding anniversary with us. I hope everybody here is very thankful. Mandie, if people want to follow you on Facebook or socials, things like that, what's the best way for them to stalk you?
Well, it's Mandie Bridge on Facebook, spelled with the IE. And it's at Mandie Bridge on Instagram.
Mandie Bridge on Instagram. Right, guys, I think we are done, and we've kept it to 1.5 hours, which is good. So thank you so much, Mandie, for doing this. And I'll tell you what, we'll do another interview when you get to 1,000 clients, all right? See.
I'm slowing down. I'm 60 in March. I'm trying to slow down, so it could be a while.
Okay, wait a minute. Let me just let this one here. Would you call being an IEMT therapist one of your greatest or utmost valued God-given achievements in life? Thank you so much, Mandie. Thank you, Matt, for the exposure.
Absolutely, 100%. I believe he is at work through me, through IEMT, definitely. Yeah, because I've no idea how I know to go where I go and even the clients that I go, God, how did you know that was there? So there's definitely something, whatever you believe in, be it God, the universe, whatever, but definitely channeling something when I work, which is why I know I'm doing exactly the right thing, doing this job. And that's why I'm so happy doing it. Yeah.
So if you haven't yet trained an IEMT, shame on you. Shame on you. Get yourself trained. Like I say, I do the trainings online. There's loads of other great trainers who do them in person or do them online as well. My advice is to research the trainers and see which one you click with, because people are very different. My trainings are very different to other people's. And there's loads of information about my training. Just Google me. Just Google me. That's what the youth say. But yeah, guys, if you want to unmute yourself, if you want to say goodbye to Mandie, please do so. We're going to wind this down now. Guys, thank you so much for being here tonight. Mandie, thank you so much for your time this evening as well.
You're so welcome. Lovely to be here. All right. Bye now. See you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
It's been lovely, Matt. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
You're welcome. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.